The massive alien warship loomed over Earth's atmosphere, its metallic hull gleaming in the sunlight. Commander Zaxthor of the Krixian Empire surveyed the blue planet below with disdain. His species had conquered countless worlds across the galaxy, and this insignificant rock would be no different. "Prepare the invasion force," Zaxthor ordered, his 3 eyes narrowing as he addressed his officers. "These primitives will fall quickly." On the surface, panic gripped humanity as governments scrambled to respond to the alien threat. Military forces worldwide mobilized, but their weapons seemed woefully inadequate against the advanced technology of the Krixian warship. In a secret underground bunker, world leaders gathered to discuss Earth's limited options. The room buzzed with tension as politicians and generals argued, their voices rising in desperation. "We need to attempt communication," insisted the UN Secretary-General. "Perhaps we can negotiate." "Negotiate," scoffed the US President. "They're here to conquer us, not chat." As the debate raged on, a quiet voice spoke up from the corner of the room. "I may have a solution." All eyes turned to Dr. Samantha Chen, a brilliant but often overlooked scientist from a small research facility. She stood, clutching a tablet computer, her eyes bright with determination. "With all due respect," she began, her voice growing stronger, "I've been studying theoretical applications of quantum entanglement. I believe I can adapt this technology to disrupt their systems." The room fell silent, a mix of skepticism and desperate hope on the faces of Earth's leaders. "And how exactly would this work, Dr. Chen?" the Russian president asked, leaning forward with interest. Samantha took a deep breath and launched into her explanation. "By creating a network of quantum-entangled particles, we can potentially interfere with their communication and navigation systems. It's risky and untested on this scale, but it's our best shot at leveling the playing field." The leaders exchanged glances, weighing their limited options. Finally, the Chinese premier nodded. "Very well, Dr. Chen. You have the full resources of Earth's governments at your disposal. How long will you need?" Samantha's mind raced, calculating the immense task ahead. 48 hours, she said firmly. "But I'll need a team of the world's top physicists and engineers." As the leaders rushed to make the necessary arrangements, Samantha felt the weight of humanity's fate settle on her shoulders. She knew the odds were astronomical, but she also knew that humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to innovate in the face of impossible odds. High above, Commander Zaxthor watched with amusement as Earth's primitive defense systems attempted to target his ship. "Pathetic," he chuckled. "Begin the first wave of our assault. Let's see how these humans handle a taste of real power." As alien fighters streaked across Earth's skies, raining destruction on major cities, Dr. Samantha Chen worked tirelessly in a hastily assembled laboratory deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. A team of the world's brightest minds surrounded her, their fingers flying over keyboards and soldering irons sparking as they raced against time. "We need more processing power," Samantha called out, her eyes never leaving the complex equations scrolling across her screen. "Divert everything we can spare from the global grid." Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a renowned quantum physicist from Japan, looked up from his own workstation. "Samantha, even if we get this working, how can we be sure it will affect their technology? We know nothing about their systems." Samantha paused, considering the question. "You're right, we don't. But the principles of quantum mechanics should be universal. If we can create enough entanglement, the sheer chaos we introduce to their systems might be enough to give us an edge." As they worked, reports trickled in from around the globe. The alien assault was brutal but focused, targeting military installations and communication hubs. It was clear they were softening Earth's defenses for a full-scale invasion. In orbit, Commander Zaxthor watched the destruction with satisfaction. "These humans are even weaker than we anticipated," he remarked to his second-in-command. "Prepare the ground forces. We'll begin landing operations in 24 hours. Back in the underground lab, Samantha's team made a breakthrough. "We've done it," exclaimed Dr. Emil Kovacs, a Hungarian computer scientist. The quantum network is stable. We can begin entangling particles on a global scale. A cheer went up from the exhausted scientists, but Samantha remained focused. Excellent work, everyone. Now comes the hard part. We need to extend this field to reach their ships. As the team rushed to modify their equipment, a young engineer named Carlos Rodriguez approached Samantha. Dr. Chen, I've been thinking. What if we use the ionosphere to amplify our quantum field? It could give us the boost we need to reach orbit. Samantha's eyes lit up. Carlos, that's brilliant. Get on it immediately. We'll need to coordinate with every radio telescope and satellite dish on the planet to make it work. As the hours ticked by, humanity held its breath. Conventional weapons had proven nearly useless against the alien onslaught, and Earth's military forces were being pushed to their breaking point. Finally, with just minutes to spare before the Krixian ground invasion was set to begin, Samantha's voice crackled over the global command channel. This is Dr. Chen. We're ready to activate the quantum disruption field. All forces stand by for potential system failures, ours and theirs. She took a deep breath, her finger hovering over the activation key. Here goes everything, she whispered, and pressed the button. The effect was immediate and spectacular. As the quantum disruption field surged outward, encompassing the Earth and reaching into orbit, electronic systems worldwide flickered and sputtered, but it was nothing compared to the havoc wreaked upon the alien fleet. Aboard the Krixian mothership, alarms blared as displays went haywire. Commander Zaxthor stumbled as the artificial gravity fluctuated wildly. What's happening? He roared, struggling to maintain his footing. His chief engineer, tentacles flailing in panic, could only stammer, "Unknown, sir. Our systems are going crazy. It's like reality itself is glitching around us." On Earth, Samantha and her team watched with a mixture of hope and trepidation as their monitors showed the chaos unfolding in orbit. Alien fighters tumbled out of formation, their sleek designs now more akin to drunken fireflies as they lost control. "It's working," Dr. Tanaka exclaimed, his usual calm demeanor breaking into a wide grin. Their technology relies heavily on quantum processes. We're disrupting them at the most fundamental level. But the victory was far from assured. As the quantum field continued to expand, Earth's own systems struggled to cope. Power grids fluctuated, and communication networks became unreliable. Samantha gripped the edge of her console, her knuckles white. "We need to find a way to stabilize the field," she said urgently. "If we don't, we could end up crippling ourselves as much as them." As the team worked feverishly to refine their creation, reports began pouring in from around the world. The alien ground invasion had been thrown into disarray, with landing craft veering off course or failing to deploy altogether. In New York, a massive Krixian walker that had been terrorizing the streets suddenly froze mid-step, its pilot unable to control the complex machinery. Quick-thinking NYPD officers seized the opportunity, using construction equipment to topple the now inert war machine. Similar scenes played out across the globe as humanity found its footing and began to push back against the invaders. The quantum disruption had leveled the playing field, turning the aliens' technological superiority into a liability. But Commander Zaxthor was not one to admit defeat easily. As his ship's systems stabilized somewhat, he gathered his top strategists. "Adapt," he snarled. "Whatever the humans have done, find a way around it. We will not be defeated by these primitives." Back in the underground lab, Samantha's team had made progress in stabilizing the quantum field, allowing Earth's vital systems to function more reliably. But as they worked, a new problem emerged. "The field is decaying faster than we anticipated," Carlos reported, his face grim. "At this rate, we'll lose our advantage in less than 6 hours." Samantha felt a wave of exhaustion wash over her, but she pushed it aside. They had come too far to fail now. "Then we need to make those 6 hours count," she said firmly. "Contact the military command." Tell them it's time to launch a coordinated counteroffensive. This is our chance to push them off our planet for good." As the orders went out, Samantha turned back to her team. "And us? We've got work to do. We need to find a way to extend the field's lifespan, or better yet, make its effects permanent. The fate of humanity is in our hands." With renewed determination, the scientists threw themselves back into their work, knowing that the next few hours would determine the future of their species. As Earth's military forces rally for a counteroffensive, taking advantage of the aliens' compromised technology, Samantha and her team raced against time to fortify humanity's newfound advantage. In the skies above London, RAF pilot Sarah Mackenzie found herself in a dogfight with a Krixian fighter. Under normal circumstances, the alien craft would have run circles around her aging Typhoon jet. But now, as the quantum field played havoc with the invaders' systems, Sarah discovered she had the upper hand. "Fox 2, she called out, launching a missile at the erratically moving alien ship. The projectile struck home, sending the Krixian fighter spiraling towards the ground in a ball of flame. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile before banking hard to engage her next target. Similar scenes unfolded worldwide as humanity's defenders pressed their advantage. In the seas off Japan, a U.S. Navy destroyer managed to score direct hits on a Krixian battlecruiser, its advanced shields flickering and failing under the quantum disruption. But it wasn't just military forces making a difference. In Brazil, a group of hackers led by a young prodigy named Luisa Vargas had managed to piggyback on the quantum field, using it to infiltrate and sabotage alien communication networks. "We're in," Luisa explained, her fingers flying across her keyboard. "Uploading the virus now. Let's see how these extraterrestrial pendejos like a taste of good old-fashioned human malware." Back in the underground lab, Samantha's team had made a breakthrough in extending the quantum field's lifespan. By using the Earth's magnetic field as a natural amplifier, they had managed to stabilize the effect for what they hoped would be several more crucial hours. But as they worked, a new threat emerged. The Krixian, realizing the source of their troubles, had managed to triangulate the location of the quantum device. "We've got incoming," shouted Dr. Emil Kovacs, pointing at a radar screen showing a swarm of alien dropships converging on their position. "They're coming for the device." Samantha's mind raced. They couldn't evacuate in time, and if the Krixian destroyed or captured the quantum generator, Earth would lose its only advantage. She made a split-second decision. "Carlos Yuki, start transferring control of the quantum field to backup sites around the world. Emil, send out a call for reinforcements. The rest of you, help me modify the generator. If they want it so badly, let's make sure they get more than they bargained for." As the team scrambled to enact Samantha's plan, the first explosions rocked the mountain above them. The Krixian assault had begun. In orbit, Commander Zaxthor watched the attack on the human facility with growing desperation. His empire's reputation for invincibility was crumbling by the minute. If he couldn't salvage this invasion soon, he would return home in disgrace, if he returned at all. "All ships, converge on these coordinates," he ordered. "We will crush this human resistance and show them the true might of the Krixian Empire." As Zaxthor's fleet moved into position, little did he know that Samantha Chen and her team were about to unleash a surprise that would change the course of the invasion, and perhaps the fate of the galaxy itself. As alien forces bore down on the secret laboratory, Samantha Chen and her team worked feverishly to enact their desperate plan. The mountain shook with each impact, dust and small debris raining down from the ceiling. "Transfer of quantum field control to global backup sites at 75%, reported Dr. Tanaka, his usually calm voice tinged with urgency. Samantha nodded, not looking up from the complex array of equipment she was modifying. "Good, keep it going. Carlos, how are we doing on the power amplification?" The young engineer wiped sweat from his brow. "Almost there, Dr. Chen. But are you sure about this? The energy levels we're talking about, it's never been attempted before." Samantha met his worried gaze with a determined one of her own. No, it hasn't. But neither has saving the world from alien invasion. Sometimes you have to take risks to achieve the impossible. Above ground, Earth's military forces had arrived to defend the facility. A ragtag group of soldiers from a dozen nations fought side by side, their differences forgotten in the face of a common threat. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but the malfunctioning alien tech and sheer human determination kept them in the fight. Captain Marcus Jones of the U.S. Army led a squad in a desperate holding action at the mountain's base. "Keep firing," he shouted over the din of battle. "We just need to buy them a little more time." In orbit, Commander Zaxthor's frustration had turned to rage. How had these primitive humans managed to thwart the mighty Krixian war machine? It defied all logic, all his years of military experience. "My lord," his second-in-command ventured cautiously, "perhaps we should consider a tactical retreat. We can regroup and return with a larger force." Zaxthor silenced him with a murderous glare. "Retreat? Never. I will not be remembered as the commander who failed to conquer a backwater world of hairless apes. Prepare my personal shuttle. I will lead the assault myself." Back in the lab, alarms blared as the facility's outer defenses were breached. Samantha looked up from her work, a bead of sweat trailing down her temple. "This is it, people. Carlos, Yuki, get to the escape tunnel. Your knowledge of the quantum field is too valuable to risk." "But what about you?" Carlos protested. Samantha managed a small smile. "Someone has to stay to make sure this works. Now go, that's an order." As her colleagues reluctantly departed, Samantha turned back to the quantum generator. The modifications were complete, but untested. Everything now hinged on a theory she had developed in the heat of the moment, a desperate gamble that might save humanity or doom it entirely. The lab doors burst open, and Krixian soldiers poured in, their weapons trained on Samantha. She raised her hands slowly, but her eyes never left the control panel of her creation. Commander Zaxthor strode in, his alien features twisted in a triumphant snarl. "So you are the one who has caused us so much trouble," he said, looming over Samantha. "I must admit, I'm almost impressed. Almost." Samantha met his gaze defiantly. "You have no idea what you're dealing with," she warned. Zaxthor laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Oh, I think I do. Your little quantum trick may have caught us off guard, but it ends now. Destroy the device," he ordered his soldiers. "I wouldn't do that if I were you," Samantha said quickly. "Unless you want to trigger a quantum cascade that'll tear." "I wouldn't do that if I were you," Samantha said quickly. "Unless you want to trigger a quantum cascade that'll tear a hole in the fabric of spacetime." Zaxthor hesitated, his alien eyes narrowing as he studied the human scientist. "You're bluffing," he growled, but there was a flicker of uncertainty in his voice. Samantha shrugged, her heart pounding but her exterior remaining calm. "Maybe, but are you willing to take that chance? You've already seen what our primitive quantum technology can do to your systems. Imagine what might happen if all that energy were released at once." The Krixian commander snarled in frustration. He gestured to one of his soldiers. "You, analyze this device. Tell me if the human speaks the truth." As the alien technician cautiously approached the quantum generator, Samantha's mind raced. She needed just a few more moments. Suddenly, the facility shook with a massive explosion. Captain Jones and his squad had managed to detonate charges at the mountain's base, causing a cave-in that sealed most of the alien force outside. In the confusion, Samantha lunged for the control panel. Her fingers flew across the keys, inputting the final command sequence. The quantum generator hummed to life, energy crackling around it in vibrant arcs of light. "No," Zaxthor roared, realizing too late what was happening. He raised his weapon, but before he could fire, the world around them began to shimmer and distort. Samantha gritted her teeth as reality itself seemed to flex and warp. The modifications she had made to the quantum field generator were pushing the boundaries of known physics. If her calculations were correct, They were about to attempt something never before achieved in the history of the universe. "What have you done?" Zaxthor demanded, his usual bravado replaced by genuine fear as he and his soldiers began to fade from view. Samantha met his gaze one last time. "Shown you the true power of humanity," she said firmly. There was a blinding flash of light, and then silence. When Samantha's vision cleared, she found herself still standing in the underground lab, but something was different. The air felt charged, tingling against her skin, and where Zaxthor and his soldiers had stood moments before, there was now only empty space. "Did it work?" she whispered to herself, hardly daring to believe. Cautiously, she made her way to a computer terminal that was miraculously still functioning. As she pulled up the latest data from Earth's sensor networks, her eyes widened in disbelief. The Krixian fleet was gone. Not destroyed, not retreating, but simply gone, as if they had never been there at all. "Dr. Chen." Carlos's voice crackled over the facility's damaged intercom system. "Are you there? What happened?" Samantha keyed the mic with shaking hands. "I'm here, Carlos, and I think we did it, but I'm not sure how or what exactly it is yet." Over the next few hours, reports trickled in from around the globe. The alien invaders had vanished, leaving behind only the damage from their initial assault. But that wasn't the only change. People worldwide reported strange phenomena, objects appearing out of thin air, others disappearing. Some claimed to have brief visions of alternate realities, glimpses of what might have been or what could be. As Samantha and her team pored over the data, a theory began to take shape. The modified quantum field hadn't just affected the Krixian, it had fundamentally altered the nature of reality itself. "It's like we've become quantum entangled with every possible version of Earth," Dr. Tanaka explained, his voice filled with awe. "Past, present, future, and even alternate timelines. They're all connected now." Samantha nodded slowly, the implications sinking in. "We didn't just save our Earth," she murmured. "We saved every Earth across countless realities, and in doing so, we've opened up possibilities we never dreamed of." As news of the victory spread, humanity began to grapple with its new place in the universe. The quantum entanglement that now linked Earth to its myriad alternate selves promised incredible advances in technology, science, and understanding. But it also presented new challenges and responsibilities. In the days that followed, Samantha found herself thrust into the global spotlight. Governments and scientific institutions worldwide sought her expertise in understanding and harnessing the new quantum reality. But even as she worked to help humanity navigate this brave new world, a part of her wondered, what had become of Zaxthor and the Krixian? Had they been destroyed, or simply shifted to another reality? And if the latter, would they one day return? 1 year after the failed Krixian invasion, Earth had changed in ways few could have imagined. The quantum entanglement that now linked humanity to its alternate selves across countless realities had ushered in a new era of discovery and innovation. Samantha Chen stood at a podium in Oslo, preparing to accept the Nobel Prize for her role in saving humanity and revolutionizing physics. As she looked out at the assembled crowd, she reflected on the whirlwind year that had passed. The ability to glimpse and even interact with alternate timelines had transformed nearly every field of human endeavor. Medical researchers could now test treatments across multiple realities simultaneously, speeding up drug development exponentially. Historians could witness past events firsthand, settling long-standing debates and uncovering lost knowledge. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. The sudden influx of information and technology from alternate Earths had caused social and economic upheavals. Some feared that humanity was changing too fast, losing touch with its roots. As Samantha began her acceptance speech, she addressed these concerns head-on. "We stand at a crossroads," she said, her voice carrying to millions watching worldwide. "The power we now wield is immense, and with it comes great responsibility. We must use this gift not just to advance our own world, but to help those alternate Earths less fortunate than ours." She went on to outline her vision for an inter-reality humanitarian organization dedicated to sharing knowledge and resources across the quantum divide. The applause that followed was thunderous. But even as humanity looked to a brighter future, questions remained. The fate of Zaxthor and the Krixian Empire was still a mystery. Some alternate Earths reported continued battles against the alien invaders, while others had no record of them at all. Samantha and her team kept a vigilant watch, knowing that the threat might one day re-emerge. But they also worked tirelessly to unlock the full potential of the quantum realm, believing that the key to humanity's long-term survival and prosperity lay in understanding and harnessing the very fabric of reality itself. As she concluded her speech, Samantha's thoughts turned to the countless alternate versions of herself across the quantum multiverse. How many had faced similar challenges? How many had failed where she had succeeded? The answers to these questions might never be known. But one thing was certain: humanity had proven itself capable of facing even the most extraordinary challenges. The laughter of aliens had been silenced, replaced by a newfound respect for the ingenuity, courage, and sheer determination of the human spirit. As Samantha left the stage to a standing ovation, she allowed herself a small smile. Whatever the future held, whatever new threats or wonders awaited across the quantum divide, she knew that humanity would face them united, drawing strength from the infinite possibilities that now lay before them. The end of the Krixian invasion hadn't just been a victory for one Earth, but a turning point for humanity across all realities. The power of human potential had been unleashed, and the universe would never be the same.